Now something even stranger begins. Because survival alone is not enough to explain what happens next. For billions of years, life existed without awareness. Bacteria thrived. Simple cells multiplied. Evolution kept refining structures, improving efficiency, increasing complexity. But none of it was aware. None of it knew it existed. It was just chemistry, continuing. And then at some point something changed, not suddenly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Some organisms began to respond to their environment in more sophisticated ways. Instead of just reacting chemically, they started processing information. Light, temperature, chemical signals. These weren't just triggers anymore, they became inputs, and inputs require systems to interpret them. So evolution began building those systems. Primitive nervous structures appeared, not brains as you imagine them, but networks. Simple chains of cells that could transmit signals. One part of the organism sensing something, another part reacting. At first this was nothing more than a survival advantage. Move toward food, move away from danger, that's it. But even that tiny step changes the nature of life, because now the organism is not just existing in the environment, it is interacting with it. And interaction requires something new, representation. The organism must, in some sense, model its surroundings, even if only in the simplest way. It must distinguish between what helps it and what harms it. And once that begins, evolution pushes it further, more sensors, better processing, faster responses. Over millions of years, these networks become more complex. They centralize. Clusters of neurons form. Primitive brains begin to emerge, still not conscious, still not aware. But something is building, a system capable of integrating information, and then something extraordinary happens. At a certain level of complexity, processing information is no longer enough. The system begins to experience, not in the way you do, not with thoughts or language, but with something raw, something foundational, sensation, pain, pleasure. These are not just reactions, they are internal states. They matter to the organism. Pain pushes it away from harm, pleasure pulls it toward survival. And in that moment the universe does something it has never done before. It creates something that feels. This is the first crack in the silence of a lifeless universe, because for the first time there is an internal perspective, something it is like to be that organism. And once that exists, even in the smallest form, evolution has access to a completely new dimension. Now it can shape not just behavior, but experience, and experience becomes a powerful tool. Organisms that feel pain more effectively avoid danger. Organisms that feel reward more strongly pursue survival. So these systems get refined, expanded, amplified. Nervous systems grow more complex. Brains become larger, more interconnected. Creatures begin to remember, they begin to anticipate, they begin to learn. And with learning comes something deeper, prediction. An organism that can predict its environment has a massive advantage. It doesn't just react, it prepares, and to predict it must simulate. It must build an internal model of reality. Think about what that means. Inside the skull of a living creature, the universe is being recreated. Not perfectly, not completely, but functionally, a simplified version of reality constructed from sensory input, updated constantly, and this internal model becomes more and more sophisticated over time. Eventually, in some lineages, it becomes something astonishing. It becomes aware of itself. This is where things stop being just biological. This is where things become philosophical. Because self-awareness is not just another trait. It's a transformation. An organism no longer just experiences the world. It experiences itself, experiencing the world. It can think about its own thoughts. It can question its own existence. It can imagine futures that haven't happened and remember pasts that no longer exist. And as far as we know, this has only happened in a few places on this planet. Humans are the most extreme example. You, right now, you are not just processing information. You are aware that you are processing it. You can step back from your own thoughts and observe them. You can ask questions that have no immediate survival value. Questions like this one: why am I here? From a purely evolutionary perspective, this is strange, dangerously strange, because awareness comes with a cost. The ability to imagine the future means the ability to fear it. The ability to remember means the ability to regret. The ability to understand existence means the ability to question its meaning. No other survival mechanism carries this kind of psychological weight. And yet, it persists, which means it must offer some advantage, and it does. Self-aware organisms can plan long-term, they can cooperate in complex ways, they can build tools, societies, civilizations, they can reshape their environment instead of just adapting to it. But in gaining that power, they also gain something else. The burden of knowing. You know that you will die. You know that everything you experience is temporary. You know that the universe existed long before you and will continue long after you're gone. That knowledge is not required for survival, but it is an unavoidable consequence of awareness. And this is where your story becomes something more than biology. Because now you are not just a product of evolution. You are a participant in it, not in the genetic sense, but in the experiential sense. The universe, through you, has become capable of asking questions about itself. Think about that carefully. For billions of years, the universe existed without asking anything. Stars formed, galaxies collided, planets cooled, life emerged, but there were no questions, no curiosity, no awareness, just processes unfolding, and then eventually something changed. A collection of atoms arranged itself in such a way that it could reflect, that it could wonder, that it could ask, what is this, why does it exist, and what am I within it? That's you. You are not separate from the universe observing it. You are the universe observing itself. And that realization has consequences, because if you are the result of blind processes, physics, chemistry, evolution, then everything you are, everything you feel, everything you think comes from those same processes. There is no sharp boundary, no clear divide between you and everything else. Just different levels of organization, different arrangements of the same fundamental ingredients. The same atoms that formed stars now form your brain. The same physical laws that govern galaxies govern your thoughts, which means something uncomfortable. Your thoughts feel personal. Your experiences feel unique, but they arise from universal rules. You are, in a very real sense, a pattern, a temporary configuration of matter and energy, and that sounds like it reduces you. But it doesn't, because that pattern is capable of something extraordinary. It is capable of meaning, not meaning given from outside, not meaning written into the universe at the beginning, but meaning created from within. Because once a system can reflect on itself, it can assign value, it can decide what matters, it can choose what to care about. That's something atoms alone cannot do. That's something only organized complexity can do. That's something only life, and especially conscious life, can do. So even if the universe has no built-in purpose, you can create one, not because you were designed to, but because you are capable of it. And that might be the most important shift of all. You are not waiting for meaning to be discovered. You are the place where meaning happens. Now pause for a moment, look around you. Everything you see, wall, sky, people, objects, is made of the same basic components that existed billions of years ago. Nothing new has been added to the universe since its beginning, just rearranged. And yet, from those rearrangements came stars. From stars came planets. From planets came chemistry. From chemistry came life. From life came awareness. And from awareness came you, not as a final destination, not as the end point, but as a continuation, a step in a process that is still unfolding. And the most unsettling part is this: we don't know where it leads, maybe nowhere, maybe somewhere beyond anything we can currently imagine. But right now, at this moment, you are part of that unfolding. You are not outside the story, you are inside it. You are the story becoming aware of itself.